Welcome to The Sound, KQAL-FM's weekly behind-the-scenes look at Midwestern-made music. From writing and recording to distribution and promotion, The Sound is your source for new releases and exclusive interviews from Midwestern artists. Support for The Sound is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Rolling.
I need a friend, I need a light.
Tonight on The Sound, we bring you the latest album by Them Coulee Boys titled No Fun in the Chrysalis. Based out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Them Coulee Boys are local favorites of ours here at the station and beyond. This album is full of heartfelt, love-filled stories, along with some foot-stompin' folk tunes. The Americana folk band was started by Soren staff and Beau, Janke in a Bible camp in northern Wisconsin, and they, alongside Jen's staff, Neil Krause and Stas Hable, crank out some holy tunes. Their sixth album, No Fun in the Chrysalis, is no exception. Tonight, we had the chance to talk with Soren about the album and the stories behind it. I'm Annika Bakkum-Ekern saying, get up, get down, and get ready for Them Coulee Boys, No Fun in the Chrysalis, tonight on The Sound.
Second wind, did I stay too long again? Or am I welcome? Change is how we all know this. Ain't no fun in the chrysalis. You come out new and scared of what you become. Caterpillars just don't fly no more than the other guy. The only way to fly is to try to start running when it comes. Change is a funny thing. Pain can make you sing. Faith can give you wings. Try to catch a cannonball with your one hand free from alcohol, but you won't hold her in your arms without letting go. If you had guts to tell her how the sun don't shine without her around, the moon gets shy and the stars fall out of the sky for the show. Change is a funny thing. Pain can make you sing. Faith can give you wings. Sometimes you still talk to God, wonder if you're loud enough. The answer's right, but the math is off. Why you're even here? Millions of mistakes were made just to have you here today. So maybe give yourself a break. We're happy that you're here. Change is a funny thing. Faith can give you wings.
That was Change, etc., the first track from the album No Fun in the Chrysalis. And that's the latest album by Them Coulee Boys from Wisconsin. And today we have Soren, one of the two founding members, on the phone with us. How are you doing after your weekend?
I'm doing great. We had a busy week. We were on tour. We're we're in Pittsburgh on Sunday night and Eau Claire, Wisconsin on Monday morning. So it was a long drive, but happy to be back home, but also happy to, have the opportunity to go play our music for people.
Absolutely. Oofta, that does sound like a long but fantastic weekend. Did you have some great audiences there?
Yes. Yeah, it was a successful tour. We had some new audiences, some old audiences. And I also want to just say it's very comforting to hear Oofta after being on the road because we're very Norwegian here at Them Coulee Boys. Not by choice, but yeah, we love Ooftas, and so that was fun to hear. But yeah, no, it was a fun tour.
Good stuff. We over here at KQAL are pretty Norwegian as well, or at the very least, I can speak for myself and a few of my colleagues. But
there you go.
We love hearing the Oofta here down here as well. So I have listened to your newest album at least 3 times this week, and may I say it's absolutely fantastic. I just discovered you guys through doing this job, and may I say it is now on my regular playlist, and it is incredible.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're happy to hear that you like it.
Yeah, totally. Can you tell us a little bit about how long you've been playing and how you got started in the music industry?
Right. Well, as far as Them Coulee Boys ourselves, we've been a band now coming on 13 years. We met working as summer camp counselors up in Chautauqua, Wisconsin. We were working at a camp where we were required to entertain, teenagers. And so we would play songs for them 3 hours a day. And we kind of cut our teeth there learning how to entertain. But, as far as being where I got my start in music, I grew up taking piano lessons and, singing in the church choir and the school choirs. But I didn't really set out on this path to be in a band. But after meeting Beau, our banjo player, and then inviting my little brother Jens to come work with us the next summer, we just loved playing with each other and continued to play with each other, recorded some music, and here we are over a decade later, still doing it. So it feels really good.
Wow, good stuff. As a summer camp girl myself, I deeply respect him and am excited to hear about your origin story. How has it felt playing music with people that you're so close with for 13 years, you said?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Genuinely, I say it's the best job in the world because I get to play music with my best friend and my little brother. And and 2 other guys who have become just some of my closest friends. But you don't get to that point, and you don't get to this point without our share of ups and downs. And I think what really saved us from the negative parts of it is that when it came down to it, we were friends coming in, we were family coming in, and through that we've made that a focus. The music business is, notoriously ugly. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to be able to just hold on to us there. And, in that, our goal from the beginning has always been we just want to make good songs. So whenever there's a disagreement, we just remember that, hey, we all have the same goals here. And so, it's kind of that combination of we had a good basis coming in. And then we've nurtured that throughout the years too. And yeah, I feel blessed all the time to, still be doing this a decade later and still, love these guys the way I do.
Totally. That's great stuff. Good to hear you've got that incredible foundation. And we're going to play another song from your album here. This is a track called Up Close from Them Coulee Boys' latest album, No Fun in the Chrysalis, here on 89.5 KQAL.
On the count of 3, I love the way you look up close. Heard you were in town again. Close my eyes and count to 10. I love it when you headed home. I love the way you uncomfortably close. You know I have a problem going slow. And you know I love the way you look up close. 'Cause up close I see just what I need. I can't lie, I have cried over you and me constantly. So I fill my eyes with you. Very conscious, you and me. Let's get unconscious on the count of three. You know I love the way you look up close. Heard you were in town again. Close my eyes and count to 10. You know I love it when you head home. And you know I love the way you look up close. And you know I love the way you look up close. I know I love the way you look up close.
That was the song Up Close from Them Coulee Boys' latest album, No Fun in the Chrysalis. This song is so wholesome and fun. What is this song about, and where did the inspiration for it come from?
It's really funny to hear you describe it as wholesome and fun, because in my head, like, that's what we were shooting for, but it's the PG way of saying what the song is about is that it's about making out. It's about, being with someone you really, really care about in an intimate way. And, like, we've always, like, we don't want to shy away from topics. Like, I've always been pretty clear that, like, nothing is really off limits for what we want to talk about. But, like, I want to package it in a way that makes people think sometimes, or, like, puts it in a different perspective. So, like, this song is so fun, and it is tongue-in-cheek, but it also is about, like, intense connections. So, I mean, it's like fun to hear it described that way, for sure.
Totally. Goodness, I'm going to have to re-listen to that song and see if I catch that undertone. I suppose you can say making out is certainly fun. Maybe not wholesome, but maybe if you put your rose-colored glasses on, it could be.
With the right person.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly my thoughts. Do your songs tend to be true stories or based in reality? Or is there some sort of truth in there? Or sometimes do you just make them up because they're fun to sing about random things?
I think earlier in our career, it was all from experience. And then as I grew, like, I just found that, like, I didn't necessarily need to write from experience. Like, regardless of if I've gone through something, I've probably gone through something similar. I can apply, emotions that I felt in certain situations to a story that isn't mine, because, like, in some way, like, we all have been there, and so these days I would say there's definitely songs that come straight from, like, hey, I needed to navigate this situation in my life, and I did that through processing it here in the song, Or, you know, on the other hand, there's also just the creative space for me. Like, I love, you know, finding a good line and running with it. And sometimes it doesn't have to come from this personal experience. And I think, you know, learning that I'm capable of writing that without having gone through it was like a breakthrough for me, and kind of fun. You know, it really opens up what you can sing about.
100%. It's great to hear the way that you explain that, because I think that's so well articulated. We are going to play another tune here. This is As Long As You Let Me from Them Coulee Boys' latest album, No Fun in the Chrysalis, here on 89.5 KQAL.
where you used to lay your head. There's an indentation left where it once lay. I try to fill it with the banned alcohol in my right hand, but nothing feels so whole, just like you can, so please just stay.
That was the song As Long As You Let Me from Them Coulee Boys' latest album, No Fun in the Chrysalis. That is another great love tune, and I love the light and happy vibe that you have so consistently really throughout this whole album. Not necessarily light and fun on every song, but I feel as though the tone of this album is so clear from beginning to end. How do you go about writing? Like, how do you start when you have a song? Is it musically? Do you go with lyrics, a melody, just a guitar pattern? How do you go about it?
Really, it could vary. Most of the time for me, it is a lyric. But I really do like love melody as well. But, what drives a song from an idea into a sketch, into a fully fledged song is really just like something that I describe it as like, it gives me a burning in my stomach. It makes me want to keep doing it, so usually for me, that's like, okay, I have a line that I really like and it's making me excited to continue finding those lines. Like, very early in my career, I read this like Bob Dylan quote where he was like, you got to make every you got to make every line sound like it's the first line of a song. And I love writing the first line of a song and then trying to just do that a bunch of times in a row. And yeah, these days it really is based more, I think, on lyrics, but like any idea that makes me excited is one that I want to follow. And, a lot of times like that kind of just stays internal for me. Like it's all in my head. And if an idea doesn't really make me feel that way, it doesn't stick around. And then in my opinion, then it's like, well, then it wasn't really worth that. But, part of me wonders what I've lost over the years, but this process has worked for me so far, and I like working like this. So,
yeah, totally. Speaking of fun lyrics and great ideas, where does the title of the album No Fun in the Chrysalis come from? I know it's in your song Change, etc., but where did that idea come from? Or rather, how did you know, yes, that is the title of this album?
Well, I mean, to circle back, like, that was definitely one of those lines that I was so excited about. I had that before I had anything on that song. And the fun part about actually with Change, etc., it's the first track on the album, but when we went to record this album, it was not one of the songs that we were going to record. We came in with 11 or 12 other songs, and after the first day of recording, I was anxious about how it went, so I stayed late that night, and I had the first verse with that line in it, and I ended up writing the second two verses and a chorus that night. Sent it in a voicemail to the guys, and that next morning we recorded it. So it kind of just felt magical. We're a band that rehearses a whole lot, and we come into the studio rehearse. So to have something kind of fall out of the ether like that and then just record it, less than 24 hours from when it was created. I think the fifth or sixth time we played that song together was the take we used for the record. So it was really kind of fun to do that. And, oh my gosh, now I'm forgetting what the actual question was because it was leading to something. Oh, where the name comes from.
Yes.
But yeah, that No Fun in the Chrysalis, after we had recorded it, we had this sense of, okay, now we need to find what songs go on this album. And, you take a bird's eye view, and in my head, a lot of these songs, I mean, they obviously are about change, this big change time in my life, but also in the rest of these guys' life. And I think you can kind of split them up into tension and acceptance. And, some of these songs are like, in change, there's tension, there's, you resist that, but when you accept that change, that's where the growth comes from. So the No Fun in the Chrysalis, the chrysalis is a huge time of change and metamorphosis for a butterfly. But they don't get to be a butterfly, without being a caterpillar first, without getting in the chrysalis too. So I think that really resonated with me, and it just felt like that was the broad theme of what we were trying to get at this record.
No, totally. That is fantastic. And that has opened up a can of worms for things that I'd like to ask you. But I'm going to ask you after this next track, and that's going to be Ghost in 4 Parts from Them Coulee Boys' latest album, No Fun in the Chrysalis, here on 89.5 KQAL.
Choose the ghost that haunts, hold him close as friends. Know that those he wants will leave us haunted in the end. If I could back, will you still love me? Don't look the same, I left my body. Can you keep the promise? Do you know the cause? Who's gonna keep us honest? We can't get back what we lost. You can't come back with the same body. Now that it changed, will you still love? If we were changing for the better, what did we aim for? Good enough. Yeah, we were talking about forever, but we never said never to the strongest stuff. If we were changing for the better, why did we never give our best? Why would you settle? Why would we settle for less? Bound to be ghosts in our own homes, never letting go. Bound to be ghosts in our own come back, will you still love me? Don't look the same, I left my body. If I come back, will you still love me? Don't look the same, I left my body. If I come back, will you still love me? Don't look the same, I left my body. If I come back, will you still love me? Don't look the same, I left my body.
That was the song Ghost in 4 parts from Them Coulee Boys' latest album, No Fun in the Chrysalis. You were talking about how you almost didn't record Change, etc., which I just have to say that is my favorite track on the album by far. It's an incredible song, and I remember when I listened to your album for the first time, my jaw was on the floor listening to that song. And kind of a segue question that really goes well with that. What is your favorite track on the album?
That's a great question. This record was recorded the winter of 2022 into 2023 was when the main tracking happened. And then we chipped away at it over 2023 and 2024 with guest musicians and different mixes and arrangements. I've had a lot of time to stew on which one's my favorite. There's songs that kind of ebb and flow out of favor, but I really do love Change just because the way it came together. We worked so hard to come prepared, and then to have something just kind of fall into our laps really did feel magical. I wish there were a better word for it, but that definitely was what it feels like. And but what you just played, Ghosts, that's every album I try to come with a song that feels like it pushes our boundaries of what we're capable of, and that was the song for this record. And so to have that come together the way it did was really exciting. And then I think the other one I'd highlight is a song called Harvey and Margie, just because I didn't really think it'd ever be a Coulee Boys song. I've been sitting on some solo material that I want to do someday, but this one just felt too good to not show. And the arrangement there with my friend Lydia playing cello and our friend Ben playing pedal steel, it really just I feel like it's one of the most beautiful things we've done. So I am very, very proud of that song as well.
Absolutely. And that's one of your top songs if you look on Spotify. It's in the top 5 of most streamed. So it clearly has earned that place. And I also want to agree with your point on Ghost in 4 parts, the song that we just played. It is so beautifully produced and very complex. Could you talk a little bit more about your production style, how involved you are, and what that process really looks like for you?
Yeah, totally. This is our second time working with the producer that we did for this record. His name's Brian Joseph. Brian lives here in Eau Claire, and he's looms pretty large. He won a Grammy with Bon Iver and has worked with people like Paul Simon, Sufjan Stevens, just these heavyweights of artists that I just adore. So the first time we worked with Brian, it was so intimidating, and I think going into that, I wrote a lot of songs trying to fit what Brian does. But after, making a record with him, we became friends, and now he's someone that I'm close with and I love and am way more comfortable with. So this time around, when I wrote these songs, it was instead of me trying to fit what he does or us as a band trying to fit what he does, it was hey, we're going to do what we do and you work with us that way. And I think it kind of brought out a really fun thing for us. And as far as production, you know, like it was definitely more communal this time around. The first time around, it was kind of like, let's trust in this, you know, this guy who has these accolades and these, you know, this skill. And this time it was like, let's trust in our skill too. We've been a band for a decade now and we know what we're doing. So I think kind of that amalgamation of trust in both him and then ourselves, like, made for this one to work out so well.
Absolutely. It sounds like you have a fantastic team behind you, which has to be a good feeling with such a big project as an album. And you've had a couple albums as well. And we're going to play another song. We're going to play the song you brought up perfectly, which is Harvey and Margie from Them Coulee Boys' latest album, No Fun in the Chrysalis, here on 89.5 KQAL.
Harvey's hard of hearing, hairless and heavy set. But when he married Margie, he wasn't like that yet. Harmless and half handsome, wearing his half smile. He said whatever he had to get it down the aisle. Margie's worn her footprints in the floorboards. In the kitchen she relives it every night. Harvey is still staring at the scoreboard, wondering how he got so far behind. Margie made her money, making mountains from more hills. Harvey's way of doing things had his way with all the bills. They say keep your head down and the good will come to you. But it's hard to keep your head up when bad news follows you. Margie's on her footprints in the floorboard. In the kitchen she relives it every night. But Harvey, he's still staring at the scoreboard, wondering how he got so far behind. One day Harvey had enough, took care of it himself. It's harder to be happy in a home built for someone else. Margie made the most of the gift he gave that day, put a little life into the love they tried to make. Now there's tiny footprints in the floorboard, laughter in the kitchen every night. Harvey, he's still staring at the scoreboard, wondering how we got so far behind. Wondering how we got so far behind.
That was the song Harvey and Margie from Them Coulee Boys' latest album, No Fun in the Chrysalis. Can you tell me a little bit about some artists that you have been listening to lately for inspiration?
Ooh, for inspiration, like every time when someone asks the influence question, like I'm always plugged. We would not be a band without the Ava Brothers. And then me as a writer, I would not be a band, or I'd not be the writer I am without studying guys like Bruce Springsteen, like women like Joni Mitchell. Like, I was raised on that kind of singer-songwriter stuff from my mom. And that kind of definitely rubbed off on me. As far as like what I'm listening to these days, for inspiration, like, gosh, I have really tried to broaden what I've been listening to. I've really gotten obsessed with that MJ Lenderman record that came out last year. The way he writes is just so singular and so like wonky. I really love it. And then also shout out Waxahachie. Like she is her record last year, Tiger's Blood, was like my favorite record of the past year, and like her writing also is so just like stark and like very, like you instantly know it's her, but you, even if it wasn't her singing the song, she just has such a distinct style. And so yeah, I would highlight those two as like ones that have been hard for me to get away from in general.
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to have to give those a listen, because if they're anything like your music, it sounds like I'll be interested. Can you tell us what's on the horizon for Them Coulee Boys looking in the future here?
Yeah, I mean, we've been touring this record, and it's been really fun. We have some projects in the can. I have like a little side project that will be coming someday. I know there's some solo projects people are working on, and we're always working on a new Coulee Boys record, but we're kind of in a little break mode right now. But the big news for Them Coulee Boys this year, outside of putting out the record, is that we announced our own music festival that we're hosting in partnership with Big Top Chautauqua up in Bayfield, Wisconsin. We're putting on a festival called Lake Effect Music Fest, where we're like hosting 2 nights. We have some great bands like Susto, Neil Francis, Jamie Wyatt, as well as like a bunch of like Midwestern favorites, and like Adam Gruhl and the Space Burritos, Humbird, a lot of folks that Winona people would recognize from playing at Boats and Bluegrass or Midwest Music Fest. We wanted to plug in to this like incredible Midwest music scene that we have here. But yeah, that's like our big thing that's on the calendar for the rest of the year. We have a bunch of festivals that we're playing this summer, but it's really exciting to have our own festival that we're hosting in front of us. It's a brand new thing for us, and we're nervous, but we're excited too.
Totally. That sounds like an absolutely awesome event. And speaking of, your tunes can be heard on all major streaming platforms, websites. Where can people find out about your show dates, future releases, your merch, your festival, all that good stuff? Where can people find you?
Exactly where you said. I mean, online, Facebook, Instagram, all of the evil social media overlords. We're on there. We have to be. But if you want to avoid those, themcouleeboys.com has all that info as well. But really, reach out, send us a message. We'd love to connect.
Awesome. Great stuff. The last tune is I Am Not Sad. Is there a reason that you chose this song for the end of the album?
Yeah. Earlier how I brought up, that if it felt like half of the record was tension, and the other half was, the acceptance. Like, change starts the record because I feel like it's asking the question of what do you do when change comes into your life, and then I'm Not Sad feels like the answer. You accept, make do with what you have. You take the hard times and you grow with them. So yeah, the I'm Not Sad definitely feels like a statement, a thesis, so to speak, for the record of like, hey, when change comes, like, you can take it head on and you can grow with it. And yeah, I mean, it is, lyrically it's that, but sonically it's just this triumphant thing, and that builds and grows and just feels very indicative of who we are as a band too. So it felt very fitting to end the record.
Totally. Well, Soren, thank you so much for talking to us today, for taking the time out for this fantastic interview. We're going to play that track. We're going to play I Am Not Sad from Them Coulee Boys' latest album, No Fun in the Chrysalis, here on 89.5 KQAL.
I am not sad anymore. least not today. See, the chemicals have all aligned and the sun is out to stay. Gonna hold my hands out smiling, gonna kiss you on your face. I am not sad anymore, at least not today. I am not sad anymore, at least not tonight. See, I found all of my failures and the times I tried to fight. So with one hand forms a fist, hope the other shines the light. I am not sad anymore, at least not tonight. I am not sad, at least not right now. See, the ones that go before us, they learn to live on somehow. If one hand's reaching for the light, hope the other's reaching out. I am not sad anymore, at least not right now. I am not sad, I am not sad, I am not sad. And I know I'm gonna feel them all someday. The sadness, the anger and the pain. But there's a debt between us I can't pay. I can't pay. I am not sad anymore, at least not today. See, my friends are all around me and the band's gonna play. Gonna dance with one hand waving free and another on your ways. I am not sad anymore, at least not today. I am not sad anymore, at least not today. I am not sad anymore, at least not today.
Thanks again to Soren from Them Coulee Boys for joining us tonight on The Sound. To hear more from Them Coulee Boys, look them up at themcouleeboys.com, Bandcamp, or your favorite streaming and social media platforms. For more deep dives into local and regional albums, tune into The Sound every Wednesday night at 6, right here on 89.5 KQAL. You can also listen to past episodes of The Sound with extended interviews and exclusive content on your favorite streaming services. Find links at kqal.org. I'm Annika Bakkum-Ekern, and we've just heard from Them Coulee Boys on The Sound.
Thanks for listening to The Sound. The Sound is produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us online at kqal.org. Theme music for The Sound provided by Mike Terrell of Fires of Denmark.